When I originally talked about this story, I actually excoriated the mother, which is on the left hand side, and the grandmother, who's on the right hand side of the screen. I just thought their body language was all wrong. I believe that they were lying. And guess what? We actually have a conclusion to the story. I mean, there is just no bringing back a child that was murdered and abused, but nonetheless, we did get some justice. And I think we need to stand on stories like this, share stories like this, make stories like this go viral. About that little baby right there, because this type of thing has got to stop, and people have to have a healthy fear of what might happen to them if they hurt our babies, right? Let me give you guys a disclaimer about my content if you've never been here before. Let's get it. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. So the source I'm using today is people.com. So thank you to People. Shout out to them. They put together pretty good comprehensive articles. What's up, Von Shay? I'll see you in the building. What up, what up, what up? This baby right here, and it makes it even worse because this baby looks exactly like his mom. Beautiful little smile, but that is just an undeniable face that baby was made by this woman, Leilani Simon, right? Leilani Simon, the Georgia mother who was convicted of murder in the death of her 20-month-old son. She has been sentenced to life in prison. And she says that she wants her son's ashes to be given to her brother. So here's the thing. When I first did this story, I talked a lot about their body language. Y'all got to go back and watch when they were interviewing about this. I literally called them out and I said they were both lying. I believe that the grandma knew what this woman did, and she's just like, you know what, this is my daughter's, so I'm not going to snitch her out. And I think that makes you just a terrible parent if you can't have some level of accountability. If you know that they violated your grandchild, I'm sorry, but I love my daughter. You have a grandbaby, you will not violate my grandbaby, or I'm just going to have to just excommunicado. I'm going to have to, because that is my lineage, and I really, really, truly think that you have to stand on business when it comes to stuff like that. She says she wants the ashes to be given to her brother. I think, man, whatever ashes you need to not worry about, because there shouldn't have been ashes to begin with, nor should you be giving people advice about what to do with ashes when you could have been given advice to maybe say, you know what, I'm going to be a good mother. If I don't want to be a good mother, I'm going to be a shit mother. Then maybe you should have given up custody. Maybe you should have never had kids, something else, but you caused the death and disappearance of this baby boy. Now, according to reports from Savannah Morning News, WSAV, and Newsweek, Chatham County Superior Court Judge Tammy Stokes sentenced 22-year-old Simon to life in prison with the possibility of parole plus 10 years. I don't like the idea, and that's probably what she'll look like by the time she comes up for parole. It's a bad-looking face right there, man. I know that's grandma. I'm just saying, it's a bad-looking face. 22 years old. I don't want to hear that she's young. I don't want to hear what she was going through. I don't want to hear about her postpartum depression. What other type of excuses do people come up with? I forget, like, how many excuses do people come up with? Jay, yous don't know what she was going through, y'all. What the type of excuses do they come up with? Postpartum, her emotional needs, the biological father wasn't there, and she was having a psychotic episode, or whatever the hell excuses people want to give. I don't care about the excuses. I just want punishment, period. She wasn't old enough, shouldn't have had kids. That's what happens when you become an adult, need to be held responsible. Okay. Now, her sentencing comes over 1 month after she was found guilty of all 19 charges against her in connection with her 20-month-old son, Quinton Simon, and his death more than 2 years ago. So this has been a saga, a hell of a saga. They want to blame it on Trump, right? Trump is the president now. That's why she gets all of this time in prison. She was traumatized. She was crying liberal tears. She was crying liberal tears, y'all. That's why she did this to her son. Y'all just don't know what she was going through, y'all. The one thing I will say before pronouncing sentence is clearly little Quinton Simon's life and death impacted many individuals, but also the community at large, the judge said at sentencing. Although Simon did not testify, she answered questions from the press and stated that she wanted her son's remains to be released to her brother, which she shouldn't even have lips on her face to be able to say that. Quinton was first reported missing in early October 2022 when his mother called 911 to tell police that the boy had vanished magically from his playpen at the family's Georgia home. Days later, police publicly stated that Simon was the prime suspect in her son's disappearance and said at a press conference at WTOC TV that she was holding out hope that her son was still alive. Yes, she did a press conference. Yes, she's that level of dumb, right? Let me also say thank you to my friend GAB Light Too Bright who donated. I think you donated either earlier today or yesterday. If you listen to me, I want to say thank you, sweetheart, for doing that. She don't care whether we're online or online. She's always donating. So if you're listening, thank you very much for doing that by way of Cash App. I got you. So thank you. And that was actually this morning. I see it. So if you're listening, GAB, thank you, sweetheart. She said, let me see. The 22-year-old mother said that at the time she hoped her son would be found happy and alive. We want him back in our arms holding us. That's what we want. And keep in mind, I think she was saying this sitting next to her mother, which is the grandmother. Somebody in the chat said, she's like Susan Smith, Diane Downs, and Casey Anthony. How many of y'all agree with that? And thank you for posting that. She said she's like Susan Smith, Diane Downs, and Casey Anthony. If y'all remember those cases, be hard to disagree with you. She said, we're hoping that he's at somebody's house and they're feeding him and maybe they wanted a baby or couldn't have a baby. She told the station. Maybe they thought that they were his savior. That's our best hope at this point. And of course, she was lying about that. Let me give a big shout out to my friend Make This Go Viral. If y'all would, please subscribe. And you have your moderator, Rich, post your channel link in there so we can go over there and go show you some love. Y'all all go subscribe to Make This Go Viral TV. That is Miss V. Make This Go Viral LLC is in the building. Much love. Thank you, sister. I appreciate that. She maintained her innocence for more than a month until investigators discovered the boy's body at a nearby landfill, according to a local outlet. I just think you have to be a special level of effing stupid to sit there and participate in the advocacy of trying to find your child that is allegedly missing, and come to find out you knew where this kid was this whole damn time. You killed the kid, threw the kid away, and they find the kid and they're like, here he is. And you're just like, what? You give him to Cat Williams. What? Y'all found him. He was in the trash can. What? And you were the one who did it. That is freaking psychotic. If you ask me, that should be first degree murder, and you shouldn't get no parole. That should just be the end of it. Anyway, let's keep going. A little bit more. During her trial, acquaintances, family members, and authorities testified against her, including her son's 17-year-old babysitter, who alleged that Simon was physically abusive and neglectful towards her son. With this face, that's who was beating up a baby like a big-ass bully. She's a bully, and I don't like bullies. You're bullying somebody an eighth of your size. Well, she's pretty big, so maybe a little bit bigger. Anyway, she said she did not love him at all, the babysitter testified in October, recalling incidents where Simon pushed Quinton into a pool and refused to help him down the stairs, resulting in him becoming injured and hit him. Defense attorneys for Simon argued that the state's case didn't have enough evidence and that was too based on emotions to convict her. We said at the beginning that most, if not all, of the state's case was based on speculation and character assassination, and that's according to her defense attorney, Martin Hilliard, who said that during closing statements. So I think he's a piece, even though it's technically still a kid. But you have to know if you see something like that, you are required to say something. The only exception I can make is that because you're legally a child, which makes it even weirder because in less than 12 months, you won't be a child. It's a bit odd. You said you wish you could do stories from Japan. You can send them to me. I'd be happy to take a look and see what you have, man. I would love for our channel to actually be like a world advocate for children in all actuality, and I would hope that we can get enough support to do that. There's also some stuff I want to do. I also kind of want to start a second channel for true crime, but I want to make it about more stories than just kids. Depending on how y'all feel about that, if y'all think y'all like to support that, let me know. But I actually have a channel set up that I might actually do some mixed content and do some more stuff. What's up, Peachy Tea Time, my friend in the chat? If y'all can go back and show some love to Peachy Tea Time, subscribe to her channel as well. And also, if you guys need services, she does an amazing job. We showed her ad. We showed it at the beginning. We'll show it also at the end here, so y'all can go subscribe and support Peachy Tea Time. Shout out to you. Thank you for being here. So let's keep going here. So I don't want to get too... I don't want to excoriate a technical child too much, if y'all understand what I'm saying. Let me see. Simon was convicted last month of two felony murder counts, a malice murder count, concealing a death, reporting a false crime, and 14 counts of making false statements to investigators. How would you ever even think that that's okay to give her the idea that she might be able to parole out? That should be a open and shut, never get out of prison type deal. If you suspect child abuse, for everybody out there listening, you can call the National Child Abuse Hotline, 800-4-CHILD, 422-4453 otherwise, or go to childhelp.org. All calls are free and confidential. It's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, available in more than 170 languages, so pretty much no matter what language you speak, we can get you some help. Let me give you guys a fair usage, and we'll go from there. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. I just thought about what y'all just said in the chat. Y'all said Billy Joe should have faced some sort of accountability for circumventing the system. That's the grandmother, right? I agree with you. I don't like that grandmother. I think that she was actually trying to protect her daughter. I don't like that at all. You're talking about a baby. And I think every parent out there that's listening to the sound of my voice, y'all got kids. If you've given birth, shout out to my ladies out there, to my fathers out there. You've ever held your child and you looked at your baby and you're like, I'd do anything to protect you. Anything. You would have to feel that even more so for the continuation of your legacy when your own child has children. I'm going to protect the youngest, the most innocent, the most defenseless. My grandchild, I would never sell out for my own kid. No effing way. If y'all feel me on that, hit that thumbs up, leave a comment, listen to what the judge had to say.
The one thing that I will say before pronouncing sentence is clearly little Quinton Simon's life and death impacted many, many individuals, but also the community at large. Leilani Marie Simon, the court sentences you as follows. Count one.
Hey, somebody in the chat said other channels won't even say the word murder. They'll say unalived. Why do people do that? Yeah, and the person was unalived. Look, Trump is back in office. Y'all can start keeping it real again. We're gonna have to make America keep it real again. Murder, death, and all of these other words that we can't say, we're gonna be able to say it here in January 2025. We are bringing keeping it real back on a live. Death, murder, kill. That sounds like I'm talking like off of what's that movie? Demolition Man, Murder, Death, Kill, MDK. I'm gonna just say she MDK'd her son. MDK.
On malice, murder, felony, life with the possibility of parole. Count 2, felony murder, vacated by operation of law. Count 3, felony murder is vacated by operation of law. Count 4, concealing the death of another, 10 years consecutive to count 1. Count 5, false report of a crime is a misdemeanor, 12 months concurrent to count 4. Count 6, making a false statement, 5 years concurrent with count 4. Count 7, making a false statement, concurrent with count 4, 5 years. Count 8, false statement, 5 years consecutive with, concurrent with count 4. Count 9, making a false statement, 5 years concurrent with count 4. Count 10 merges into count 9. Count 11, 5 years concurrent with count 4. Count 12, making a false statement, 5 years concurrent with count 4. Delia, did I get count 11?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Count 13, making a false statement, 5 years concurrent with count 4. Count 14 merges into count 13. Count 15, 5 years concurrent with count 4. Count 16, making a false statement, 5 years concurrent with count 4. Count 17 merges into 16. Count 18, 5 years to serve concurrent with count 4. And false statements, making a false statement, count 19 concurrent with count 4. That is 5 years as well. Is there any issue with malice, murder, felony, life with the possibility of parole? Count 2, felony murder, vacated by operation of law. Count 3, felony murder.
And we're staying on top of breaking news in Chatham County, where a judge sentenced the mother found guilty of murdering her toddler son and dumping his remains in the trash. WJCL 22 News' Andy Cole joins us live outside of court. Andy, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Riley, life plus 10 years with a possibility of parole after 40 years in a Georgia state prison. That is Leilani Simon's sentence. The Savannah mother found guilty of beating her toddler son to death before throwing his body into a trailer park dumpster. Now, this certainly was a heavy sentence, but a far cry from what the state had originally recommended. Several people today at this sentencing hearing spoke on behalf of Leilani, many of whom we hadn't seen throughout the entire trial. Her mom, Billie Jo Howell, her stepdad, Thomas Howell, her aunt, who admitted she raised her for a good portion of her life. Her brother spoke, and a childhood friend. Many of them were incredibly emotional, and so was Leilani. Her stepfather, Thomas Howell, of 12 years, took the stand and asked the judge for mercy. Give her a chance, he pled, acknowledging that chance may come after he passes away. At times, I noticed, particularly when Thomas Howell was speaking, Leilani was crying so heavily, in fact, her tears literally fell onto her Chatham County Jail jumpsuit. Many of the folks who spoke on behalf of Leilani also blamed the drugs she was on, her aunt suggesting Leilani's then boyfriend Daniel Youngkin could have had something to do with the murder. Prosecutors, by the way, have emphatically denied those claims. The state, on the other hand, reminded the judge that Leilani was never sorry for her actions. She's just sorry she got caught, never even taking responsibility for it.
Now, how many times have y'all heard me say that on my channel? And I said that these people aren't sorry about what they did and who they're sorry for towards the person that they killed. They are only sorry because they got caught, and only sorry because now they have to face the consequences and potentially the ramifications while they're in prison. So if somebody else in prison feels some type of way and decides to take it out on them, it is what it is. I'm damn sure not going to feel bad about that. Prison justice, right? Might not be legal, but I get it. I definitely understand the sentiments. But there has to be some accountability, even if it comes in that form. I'm not really against it.
The prosecutors asked for the maximum sentence, life without the possibility of parole, plus 67 years and a $117,000 fine. Stokes, by the way, didn't impose any fine on Simon's sentencing. Even her mother, Billie Jo Howell, testified that Leilani Simon never admitted responsibility to her, which she admitted was frustrating. Take a listen to some of that testimony.
I failed her as a mom. I allowed addiction to take over my life at a young age. And you and your brother were just babies. And you lived with my sister. And I made sure you were okay. When you come to live with me, I'd already changed my life. And I'd been working really hard. But I had changed my addiction from drugs to work. And I still neglected your needs, your emotional needs. I still wasn't there for you.
So different. And what was this, like 2022? In 2 years' time, that woman right there looks like a different person. Boy, she's been aged.
And as you see in that clip, these were it was the most emotional day in court that I experienced. Rarely did we see tears, but man, Leilani, you could tell the gravity of her situation really hit her. I want to recap. Leilani will spend life in prison plus 10 years with the possibility of parole after 40 years in a Georgia state prison. At that point, folks, she's going to be 65 years old. She will be an old woman when she gets the possibility of getting out and getting her freedom. And even then, it is not guaranteed.
Like, I don't like the fact that he's saying that. She will be an old woman. Yeah, that's the point. You're supposed to die in prison. You killed a kid. You killed your legacy for no reason. An innocent little baby. Beautiful, innocent little baby. All babies are innocent and beautiful. And you would take your frustration and hate and ugliness out on a child. Yes, you should be old and dead, and they should be scraping you out the prison cell when your time is done. Not the potential to start your life over. No.
Malice, murder, felony, life with the possibility of parole. Count 2, felony murder, vacated by operation of law. Count 3, felony murder.
And we're staying on top of breaking news in Chatham County, where a judge sentenced the mother found guilty of murdering her toddler son and dumping his remains in the trash. WJCL 22 News' Andy Cole joins us live outside of court. Andy, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Riley, life plus 10 years with the possibility of parole after 40 years in a Georgia state prison. That is Leilani Simon's sentence.
I feel I need to read that just to let y'all know. So shout out to Lockdown with April. She said they were getting Amazon wish list gifts. I get tongue tied trying to say that. I'm gonna read it again. She said they were getting Amazon wish list gifts sent to their house and did a fundraiser for a funeral when they didn't even have the body released. The body was only released a few days ago. To the people in the chat who are listening to the sound of that right now, what do y'all think about that? What do y'all think about that? Billy Joe is trying to regain custody of her other 2 grandchildren. I hope they don't give them to her. It's just, man, here's the thing. I think she tried to cover for her daughter, yes, because in her heart, she cares, and I only understand that to a certain extent. And then you have these other grandchildren, and it's just like, what are they supposed to do? Like, or would they be better in foster care? Because y'all know how shitty the foster care system is. You know what I mean? But at the same time, because you can see that this fruit ended up bad, and it makes you wonder if the tree itself is bad, which will be the grandmother. So should you question whether she's a suitable parent? Yes, I think that you should question that. Absolutely. I think for situations like this, they should do a thorough investigation into her life, who she is, how she raised kids, and they should be checking on her all the time if they do decide to give her and her husband custody of the other grandkids. But are they going to do their due diligence? Probably not. So it's just like, I just feel like the kids are in a lose-lose when it comes to this situation. You should be able to rely on the grandparents, and I'm not so sure that you can in this situation. Am I right about what I'm saying? Because I think some of y'all were questioning, and I actually kind of agree with you. Oh my God. You said the grandmother's older son is in jail for murder too? I think that tree that we was talking about that was bearing fruit that gave birth to Leilani Simon might be tainted. It might be bad. I did not know that. Said I'm right. Thank you, Peachy. You didn't know that? Look, we've been talking about this case for 2 years. Now, how did I miss that? I'm like, how did you get that information? Like, that is interesting. So you got 2 kids in jail for murder. One because she murdered her own kid. Not unalived her kid, murdered, death, killed her kid. Constant flow of bad blood. Says she raised killers. Leave the kids wherever they're at. They're in foster care. Leave them where they at. That's ridiculous.
Savannah mother found guilty of beating her toddler son to death before throwing his body.
That's what we got the live chat for. Thank y'all for participating in that chat, letting me know, because I damn sure in 2 years, I have never heard somebody tell me that. I didn't read it. I didn't see it. So I didn't know that. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that.
Body into a trailer park dumpster. Now, this certainly was a heavy sentence, but a far cry from what the state had originally recommended.
Look, I get that everybody, look, you can do all the right things and your kids can still go the wrong way. And let me say that again. As a parent, you can do all the right things and your kids can go the wrong way. Your kids can do bad stuff. Your kids can get arrested. I'm a testament to that. I've got some other family members, I'm not going to say nobody specifically, that can also attest to that. But does that make my mother or somebody else's mother a bad mother? Not necessarily, no. Because we made our own choices, bad decisions to get ourselves in hot water. Now, granted, I was given so much good stuff in me that was instilled in me that I was able to take that little bit of rough road at the beginning of my adult life and turn it into something positive and me become a what do you call it? A productive parent. But at the same time, on the other end of the spectrum, you look at this and say, damn, you raised 2 gang members, you raised 2 thugs, you raised 2 killers, you raised 2 mass murderers. It makes you think that maybe you might have done some shitty parenting. Right? It makes you wonder that the irony that both of your kids are probably doing life in prison. a technical life term, not actual life, because that's more like 20 with an L, 15 with an L. But two of them, what is the likelihood that you have two kids that are doing prison time life for murder? You said Billy Joe evicted the grandkids and the mother just the week before. Now, I do remember that. That I do remember. That's all public record. I did talk about that. She evicted the grandkids and the mother. Boy.
Several people today at this sentencing hearing spoke on behalf of Leilani, many of whom we hadn't seen throughout the entire trial. Her mom, Billy Joe Howell, her stepdad, Thomas Howell, her aunt, who admitted she raised her for a good portion of her life. Her brother spoke, and a childhood friend. Many of them were incredibly emotional, and so was Leilani. Her stepfather, Thomas Howell, of 12 years, took the stand and asked the judge for mercy. Give her a chance, he pled, acknowledging that chance may come after he passes away. At times, I noticed, particularly when Thomas Howell was speaking, Leilani was crying so heavily, in fact, her tears literally fell onto her Chatham County Jail jumpsuit. Many of the folks who spoke on behalf of Leilani also blamed the drugs she was on, her aunt suggesting Leilani's then boyfriend, Daniel Youngkin, could have had something to do with the murder. Prosecutors, by the way, have emphatically denied those claims. The state, on the other hand, reminded the judge that Leilani was never sorry for her actions. She's just sorry she got caught, never even taking responsibility for it. The prosecutors asked for the maximum sentence, life without the possibility of parole, plus 67 years and a $117,000 fine. Stokes, by the way, didn't impose any fine on Simon's sentencing. Even her mother, Billy Joe Howell, testified that Leilani Simon never admitted responsibility to her, which she admitted was frustrating. Take a look.
You notice how they said she never admitted responsibility? See, here's the thing. Because you know you're going to be sentenced. You know it's not going to make a difference. And thank y'all for those who are watching right now. Yes, we are live right now, so thank you, thank you. Crazy thing is that you know you're going to face this time anyway. They've already convicted you. They have the evidence. You know what you're facing. And they still give you an opportunity at sentencing at the very end for, do you want to say anything? And you could literally be like, I fucked up. I killed my son. I lied about it. And I'm sorry. No, she won't do that. And again, I want y'all to remember that grandma initially, in my humble opinion, was trying to cover for her, which you go back and watch my other videos, my older videos on this, and I felt like she was trying to cover for her. She looked at her like, I know you're lying, but I'm going to try to have your back on this anyway in public, which I think just proves that grandma probably is not a very, very good person. At the end of the day, you still should have some resolution in your soul to say, you know what, I messed up. The fact that you're going to try to take that to your grave, I just think that proves that she is just a terrible human being, and that cannot be fixed.
Listen to some of that testimony.
I failed her as a mom. I allowed addiction to take over.
You said they tried to blame the boyfriend. Y'all remember that? This is a whole saga. This is 2-3 years of this going on. They tried to blame the boyfriend.
My life at a young age. And you and your brother were just babies. And you lived with my sister. And I made sure you were okay. When you come to live with me, I'd already changed my life. And I'd been working really hard. But I had changed my addiction from drugs to work. And I still neglected your needs, your emotional needs. I still wasn't there for you.
And as you see in that clip, these were it was the most emotional day in court that I experienced. Rarely did we see tears, but man, Leilani, You could tell the gravity of her situation really hit her. I want to recap. Leilani will spend life in prison plus 10 years with the possibility of parole after 40 years in a Georgia state prison. At that point, folks, she's going to be 65 years old.
Thank
She
you,
will be
Ms.
an
V. I
old
appreciate
woman when
that.
she gets the possibility of getting out and getting her freedom. And even then, it is not guaranteed. Today, she has 30 days to file an appeal on the case. She can also file a motion for a new trial. Really, folks, I want to wrap this all up with the judge's final words. Judge Tammy Stokes, who's presided over this whole trial, Superior Court judge here in Chatham County, she said, "May there be peace somehow." And I imagine folks in both the Simon family and the prosecution are going to try and put this behind them as much as they can. But I imagine this is a heavy time for folks. And some will be celebrating and some will be in sorrow tonight. Riley?
All right, Andy, thanks so much for that live report.
So in closing, I want to do this. I usually don't do it this way. I normally let the pictures just scroll. But I'm going to show y'all something. Let me see if, and especially that picture. Beautiful little kid. Let me see if I could close this up just a little bit. On my favorite picture. I don't understand, nor will I ever understand, how you can look at a face like this and think that you're going to be mad, that you can punch, that you can hit, that you can kill, that you can suffocate, drown, lie on, give a child like this up for drugs, abandon this child to a boyfriend or anything like that. I don't understand how you can look into the face, look into the eyes of an innocent baby who cannot speak for himself nor defend himself, and is just a sponge for love, a sponge for learning, and can grow up and become anything if you give them the opportunity to do it. For the most part, all you have to do is be responsible and not interfere in that process. And y'all look at this. This baby looks just like his damn mama. This boy is literally the boy version of his mother. Mini-me, thank you. He's a mini-me of her. Those genes are very strong from that nose to the eyes, to the smile, to the mouth, to everything. And I'm going to say this. For anybody who believes that people like this need to be felt some sympathy for, need to be coddled in court, maybe don't give them such a tough sentence. No, I would say this. In a case like that, then don't have children, because that's what it's going to take, and this is what's going to happen. And you need all the time in prison that you could possibly get. If they could give her 10 lifetimes in prison, she would absolutely deserve it. But I think her soul is required in hell for her being a liar, her being stupid, her being ugly, and for what she did to that kid. May his soul rest in peace. Quinton Simon, young prince, R.I.P. And on top of that, now that I think about it, y'all remember when they went and dragged through the landfill trying to find this child's body? Do y'all remember that? How much they had to go through? How many people in this planet that you have affected emotionally that are broken in their heart because you just are a stupid lying bitch. Just a horribly selfish person. That the whole world, they went through 1.2 million pounds of trash. Not 100,000, not hundreds of pounds, millions of pounds of trash to find this boy's body, and they did. He did nothing to deserve that. That's going to conclude this story, and we won't bring her name up again. But to Quinton Simon, to that young prince, beautiful baby boy, he deserved an opportunity to grow something great and did not deserve to meet a demise like that. I don't want his mother in the picture. See if I can get him by himself. I don't want grandmother in the picture. Matter of fact, look at this mugshot. Look at that. That's a mugshot picture. R.I.P. This is actually an update story from Kentucky. And if y'all remember this, boy, I was so upset when I heard about these babies. Just handsome young men that could have grown up to become anything. When you talk about you need more good men in this world, and then you look at this, and I want to back this up just for a second to kind of give my opinion. And you have these beautiful young men that could grow up and become great men, and people rob them of an opportunity. When you're talking about whether it be mixed children, whether you're talking about black children, or whether you're just talking about boys turning into men in general, I think that everybody needs to give them their full effort, their full attention, and do as best as we can by our babies, which is not what their mother did at all. Let me give you guys the fair warning about my channel, especially, let me give you a fair warning about my channel, especially if this is your first time here. And let me say thank you to Tina, who donated $10 by way of the super chat. She's showing some love, sweetheart. Much love. Big hugs if you're listening. Thank you. Thank you very much for doing that. Here we go. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. So I'm using a website called WLKY .com. So if y'all are listening, thank you for the article. So that's what we're reading from. And this is going to be a final update. It's just sad to think that, this is just the end of this. But nonetheless, a Bullitt County mother who killed her two sons last year, has been sentenced to life in prison. That is literally the update. That's the end of it. If you tune out, I definitely understand. But for those who might not have gotten the details of the story, we're going to give you a little bit of an insight. Tiffany Lucas, that woman, if you could even call her a mother, admitted to shooting her sons, 6-year-old Maurice and 9-year-old Jaden, in the head at their home in Shepherdsville in November 2023. It don't even seem like it's been that long ago. And it's already been a year. At the time, she told investigators it was an accident and she had been manipulated on Facebook to kill her kids. And it's crazy because to say that one child was shot, you turn around and shot another child and said that it was an accident. That makes you an effing liar. That means you're a stupid bitch. And I think that you need to go to hell forever and a day with Satan, your maker, for lying like that. It's not going to take a rocket scientist to figure out what you did to these kids. And I'm glad that she was exposed. I just think she's a horrible person. She pled guilty to 2 counts of capital murder last month, which could have got her the death penalty. That's what I was wondering. Thank you for posting that in the chat. Definitely should have got the death penalty for that. On Friday, the judge decided to go for the maximum, giving Lucas 2 life sentences, 1 for each murder, which I hope that's consecutive. So if she gets a chance to get out on one, hope she don't get a chance to get out on the other. I cannot imagine the sheer horror these children must have experienced seeing their mother with a gun, according to Judge Rodney Burris. Several family members made emotional impact statements on the stand, and some went into tears. My heart is in pieces, and you know that have always had a place to drop them off. You took Jaden from me, and I heard every day, every second of the day. I heard Regina Rowan, Jaden's grandmother, say it directly to Lucas. I want you to suffer just like I'm suffering right now. But she said that about Jaden, so I'm assuming that these kids had different parents. It's been a while since I've talked about this story, but it sounds like these boys had different dads, and they do look quite a bit different from each other. Either way, Rowan was one of 7 family members who spoke. Lucas's lawyers played a video to help show her mental state, which we don't give a fuck about, right? Sure, nobody in the chat cares about her mental state and what she was going through, y'all, with her arms folded. That is bad body language. That means she don't care. She's blocking body language. She's blocking with her body language. They played a video to help show her mental state in the days and moments before the boys were killed, including footage from a neighbor's doorbell camera and surveillance at a Waffle House. In the video, you can hear her asking neighbors for help. I need to have good people around me. I need family. I need help. She can be heard saying outside her neighbor's house the days before the murders. I want y'all to remember these boys had fathers and other families, other family members. She didn't want to give up the custody of these boys. Do y'all remember what hashtag we used to describe people like that? Hashtag babies for benefits. This mother used these boys as little bitty babies to get attention, to get whatever benefits, whether it be child support, control over a man, control over family members. But I think that she really did it for attention because these are beautiful young men. And too many people that behave like her only have kids because they do it for attention. Now, granted, I know some people that actually have kids because they love their kids. They do the best by their kids and actually doing a damn good job of raising their kids. I know a bunch of ladies like that. I actually know some ladies in the chat who are like that, who are damn good mothers and would never do no stupid shit like this, regardless of whether you have help or don't have help. It's a choice that you made to bring these children into this world. Regardless if you need help, everybody understands that the level of difficulty raising children is high. If you can't handle it, don't have them. Otherwise, do right by those kids. I believe that this woman epitomizes hashtag babies for benefits. Thank y'all for posting that in the chat. Absolutely. Now, the defense asked the judge to consider that she was having a mental crisis, boo fucking who, and was on drugs when she decided her sentence. Or excuse me, when deciding her sentence, he asked her to consider that. Well, now he wasn't on drugs. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. That sounded real wrong. The defense asked the judge to consider that she was having a mental crisis and was on drugs, and he asked her to consider these things when deciding her sentence. So I read that right. I think they just wrote it wrong. So yeah, they might need to change that on their website. Anyway, family called Lucas selfish, which is what we already said, and they said offered to help with the boys amid her addition. And I think that was actually one of the fathers. Hold on, let me back it up. I think that's one of the fathers right there. Kentucky's criminal justice system allows Lucas to be eligible for parole in 20 years. That circumstance is why the family of the boy said that they believe justice was not fully served on Friday. It's just, we know that's basically what you're going to get until you could just say life with no parole. That's about as good as it's going to get if you're just going to leave it at life, because life is a technicality. It's just a term that means a natural life sentence is about 20 to 25 years. So let me give you guys the fair usage, and then we'll go from there. We only got a couple of news videos. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. Let me answer a couple of things real quick, because we got a live chat. That's what the chat is for. So before we get there, do me a favor, y'all, please, if y'all are listening to the sound of my voice, share this video. Let's make this type of stuff go viral, like Ms. V's channel. We want these type of stories to go viral. We want to go viral together, all of us who produce content, to share in the memory of these babies and get justice. Let me answer what you said in the chat. You said that she planned it because she took them out and fed them their favorite food before she went and killed her kids. But let me answer this. You said, why would the judge do that? The thing is you really can only do the letter of the law. Like, if they could do more, I'm sure the judges probably would do more. but it's literally just that's just the way the law is written, and the law has to be interpreted a little bit different for each state. And sometimes you have to have a precedence in law in order to be able to give certain sentences. Like you have to be able to show that it's consistent with what other judges have ruled and what the actual rule of your state is, or even depending if it's federal charges. That's literally all you can do for the most part.
Life in prison. That is the sentence just delivered today to Tiffany Lucas, the Bullitt County mother who shot and killed her 2 boys. Our Ian Hardwick and photojournalist Addie Hill spent the morning in the courtroom. Ian, some of the family we spoke to said that life sentence did not go far enough.
Brooke, many of the boys' family members said during victim testimony that they wanted Lucas to go away with life without parole. After this, she's eligible for parole within the next 20 years. And throughout the court hearing this case, Lucas's lawyers insisted the mother of 2 was having a psychotic episode. That came back up during closing arguments, where they said Lucas believed her kids were the targets of a child sex trafficking conspiracy. The boys' families shook their heads at that, saying even if her mental break was brought on by drugs, Lucas brought it on herself. Bobby Baker, Maurice's aunt, cared for little boy Jaden too, and says she'll be at every parole hearing going forward.
The only peace I have in this is knowing that you can't hurt them anymore. And nobody's gonna ever be able to fix my brother's heart. Nobody can fix that.
Baker's brother, Maurice's father, took the stand in a last-minute change of heart today in the courtroom, saying Lucas kept his kid away from him since the day he was born. And although the courtroom, the family members...
Wait. Now, see, do y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? Listen to this again.
Took the stand in a last-minute change of heart today in the courtroom, saying Lucas kept his kid away from him since the day he was born. Last-minute change of heart today in the courtroom, saying Lucas kept his kid away from him since the day he was born. Last-minute change of heart today in the courtroom, saying Lucas kept his kid away from him since the day he was born.
And this woman had the nerve. This is why I hate women like this. And she had the nerve to sit there and beg for sympathy and say, I need help. The man that made these kids is right there, and you refuse to let him be a father. Damn. She kept his kid away from him, but she needed help. This is why what she did is unforgivable. That's bullshit to the max. That is bull crap to the max. He's right there saying she never let me see my son. Here's the cold part about it. How many fathers out there can relate? How many men can relate the fact that a woman knew that she had some power? I know it's not y'all in the chat, but there are other women out there like Tiffany Lucas and other women of all races in the United States of America that know that if they have custody naturally of these kids when they give birth, more times than none, they have full custody. Knowing that the man is there, knowing that the man wants to be a father, and she's going to make it so freaking complicated. I want to cuss so bad. Trying to keep this PG. Godly. She wants to make it so freaking difficult for him to be a father. And I hate when people say, you should fight for your kids. You should fight for your kids. You should fight for your kids. My saying is I shouldn't have to fight for my kids. I shouldn't have to fight you. I shouldn't have to fight your mother. I shouldn't have to fight your friends. I shouldn't have to fight public scrutiny to see my goddamn kid. That concept is dumb. Who believes that you should have to fight? Fighting is a choice, and fighting more times than none is stupid and does not have a good outcome. If you want to talk about mental illness, why would you want a man to be a father that has had to fight for his kid and is probably going to be bitter and then go pick up the kid? What do you think a fucking fool would do that's mad and go pick up a kid, already has an elevated stress level when you're talking about mental illness, and then you expect for this man to deal with a crying, whining baby that is going to need your love and patience and attention when he is already on 10 from dealing with a stupid ass mother? Ladies, that is not logical. That is dangerous. How much do you love your kids if you want a man to fight for them kids, and then when he get them, he's already pissed off? I'm trying to tell y'all what I live. Let me say it again. I'm trying to, I see y'all feeling me in the chat. Y'all hit that thumbs up, please, if y'all are feeling where I'm coming from. I'm trying to share with y'all my thoughts and feelings because I'm trying to save other children and stop these things from happening. I don't want to see y'all in court. I don't want to see your stories in my email, in my inbox saying it happened to me. Jay, you were right, but now it's too late. When we have an opportunity each and every day to make sure that this thing don't happen, we have an opportunity each and every day before we procreate. If you already have kids, you have a choice every day to not be an ass to the person that helped you get that child, because it takes two to tango, and there's only two sexes, by the way. In 2025, there's not going to be no more of these 13, 14 sexes. There's only going to be two sexes in 2025, men and women. Just so y'all know, right? It takes a man and a woman, an X and a Y chromosome to make babies. And you don't put that other party through a bunch of bull crap. And I try to tell, and maybe some of my friends in the chat right now, if you've ever talked to me personally over the phone, if I've ever counseled anybody, maybe some of y'all out there can tell the people in the chat, tell the people who are listening, they can see your comments and tell them that this is not the way that I teach you. And I teach people to always keep that door open for the other parent. Don't stress that other parent out. If they want to be a parent, let them be a parent. If they don't want to be a parent, then don't force them to. Don't guilt trip them. Just leave them alone and move on like a mature adult, like a mature parent. I don't think people truly understand the gravity of you putting out that bad energy, because that's what it is. And you put that bad energy out there to the dad, that energy is going to spread, it's going to hit your kids, and it's going to affect you all. And it is ugly and it is nasty. It has a horrible effect. It's like creating waves in the water, and that energy never dies. I'm just asking for people to start putting, you say you remember the story? Thank you. I'm just asking for people to put better energy out there in the world, because it's a choice.
And although the courtroom, the family members of those boys applauded as Lucas went away to serve that life sentence. Maurice's father took the stand in a last-minute change of heart today in the courtroom, saying Lucas kept his kid away from him since the day he was born. And although the courtroom, the family members of those boys applauded as Lucas went away to serve that life sentence behind bars, they know their pursuit of justice will last as long as she's having those parole hearings. For now, I'm live in Shepherdsville. Ian Hardwick, WHAS 11, on your side.
Court will adjudge the defendant guilty.
I'm going to let y'all hear a little bit from the judge. We got 2 more videos. If y'all are listening, please hit that thumbs up, or you can leave a comment. That'll help share this story. If more y'all can do that, that'll help us out quite a bit. Here we go.
The offense of murder and fix her sentence at life in prison. This time, the court will order that the Sheriff's Department deliver the defendant to the custody of the Corrections Cabinet for service of her sentence of imprisonment. That's all for today. Court will be adjourned.
Applause afterwards as you got the word from the judge today. New tonight, life in prison for Tiffany Lucas. It comes after she pleaded guilty to murdering both of her sons, Maurice Baker and Jaden Howard. That was a little over a year ago on November 8th, 2023. The boys' family gathering in the courtroom today, speaking directly to Lucas, telling her how their lives have been changed forever. It's our top story. Hello, everybody. I'm Doug Proffitt.
And I'm Connie Leonard. Ian Hardwick and photojournalist Addie Hill spoke with one family member who says she'll be there when Lucas is up for parole.
Tiffany Lucas looks ahead at life in prison after pleading guilty to murdering her young boys, Maurice Baker Jr. and Jaden Howard. From Baker's grandmother to heartbroken cousins and Howard's stepmother, the families faced Lucas down ahead of her sentencing.
I have been in Jaden's life since he was 6 months old. While I'm thankful for the time I had with him, it was too short. My daughter, Charlie Howard, is 4 years old, and she has already lost her father, and he took her only brother.
The testimony was enough to bring Lucas to tears. After shooting her sons, Lucas collapsed in the neighbor's driveway where she stayed as officers put her in handcuffs. When she was brought to the Bullitt County Sheriff's Office, she said she'd shot herself in the head. Her defense lawyers say that was Lucas's plan.
Even at her lowest, when she thought she was protecting them from an imminent abduction and lifetime of horrific trauma, she never imagined a life without them. But the gun jammed when she turned it on herself.
Bobby Baker, who loved both boys, told Lucas she'll be at her parole hearing 20 years from now.
In 20 years, she'll be about 52. You can still have kids at 52.
Look, I empathize with you, ma'am. No, you're sad, and I know you're just speaking emotionally. Her ovaries are going to be rotten like raisins that have been left out in the sun. No, she ain't gonna be able to produce kids at 50. That's men, ma'am. I don't know who taught you about biology, but that ain't it. I'm sorry, I ain't trying to be disrespectful. But I don't like people just saying just any damn thing. That's just not smart. In 20 years, she'll be 50. She could still have... Let me stop. Oh, Lord. I'm pretty sure she ain't gonna contact me and send me a mad email. But damn, that's just not true. It's just not.
She'll be at her parole hearing 20 years from now.
In 20 years, she'll be about 52. You can still have kids at 52.
Who? Who's going to have kids at 52? Who? Tell me how many 52-year-olds in history have ever gotten pregnant and gave birth at 50. Okay, look. Now, yes, okay. I retract what I said. Yes, she could have kids at 52. You show damn right. Let's go. So, ma'am, I apologize. Use right, y'all. Use right. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, I promise. I'm being a little facetious.
Once again, I feel like they didn't get the justice they deserved.
Life with parole was the maximum sentence the judge could grant in this case. The prosecutor said,
I guess if anybody could get pregnant at 52, I guess Tiffany Lucas probably would be able to. I wouldn't put it past her. Just saying. She might have some special genes.
in order to go without parole, it would have had to have been tried by a jury. In Shepherdsville, I'm Ian Hardwick for WHAS 11 on your side.
Y'all don't take what I say too personally in the chat, okay? Y'all know I can be a little bit of a butthole sometimes, and we're not going to always agree, but I don't want y'all to stay mad at me, because that's just, y'all know this has been me for the past 5-6 years. This is how I get down. I just speak my mind. Anyway, let's go. You said no man will want to have kids with a baby killer. Here's the thing, the special thing about men. Men will stick their dick in anything that got a heartbeat. And there are just some nasty, disgusting men out there that would stick their dick in something that ain't even got a heartbeat. Men are just disgusting. Men are just carnal in general, not all. Don't put it past the man to do that. They just want some sex, okay? Men are very carnal in general, not all. Don't put it past the man to do some nasty crap. Just saying. Men actually know how to compartmentalize. They can compartmentalize and say, I wanted some, look, Miss V, I'm sorry. I wanted some sex. I don't want to have no kid. Men are very good at compartmentalizing. They want sex, but they don't want no kids.
Inside this courthouse on Friday.
Matter of fact, you said there was somebody at 57 who had a healthy baby. I want you to think about how often that happens. Not likely. Little to none. The chances of that happening, there's a good chance that Satan be able to make an ice cube last in hell before a woman at 57 could have another kid or have any kids. Just not likely.
Tiffany Lucas's sentencing hearing was emotional and heartbreaking as loved ones became the voices for Maurice and Jaden, who because of their mother no longer have their own. Nearly a year to the day, Tiffany Lucas murdered her two sons at their Bullitt County home. The 33-year-old was sentenced to life in prison. Lucas pleaded guilty in October to 2 capital murder charges.
The court will adjudge the defendant guilty of the offense of murder and fix her sentence at life in prison.
Family of Maurice, 6, and Jaden, 9, gave tearful and enraged testimony at the sentencing hearing.
You took him from me, and I hurt every day. Every second of the day, I hurt.
They called Lucas selfish, evil, and a monster for shooting and killing the very children she was supposed to love and protect.
I often see these court shows where the defendants are forgiven by the victim's family, but not today, not by me. I will never forgive you.
The defense, while not excusing Lucas's brutal behavior, for the first time in court showed surveillance video of her mental state and hallucinations from drugs just one day before the murders. She's heard telling a neighbor, "I need you. God is talking to me. I need help." Another video from inside a Waffle House shows Lucas and the boys in one of their final moments. A server says Lucas looked like she was in her own world and couldn't comprehend what was going on.
The only peace I have in this is knowing that you can't hurt them anymore. And I'm pissed.
As Lucas heads to prison, the boy's aunt, Bobby Baker, says she was hopeful Lucas would not have the option to get out. From Bullitt County, Alexis Matthews, WLKY News.
You said 1% chance naturally occurring after 50 years old, but with IVF, anything is possible. I would tell y'all this. A 1% chance is lower than a bow-legged caterpillar, and that's pretty damn low. So, yeah. I would just say let's not test Mother Nature. Mother Nature pretty good at what she do. But let's get back to this. In all seriousness, I'm being a little facetious, by the way. You know, I just love engaging with you guys and really just trying to have a productive conversation about these stories. And just to get people to understand, doing drugs is a choice. Again, it's a choice. Addicted or not, don't do drugs. You do drugs, you just got to face the consequences for what you do at the end of the day. Well, you know how they say there's one druggie in every family or whatever the case is? Maybe a lot of us can relate to that and know that sometimes you have to castigate, excoriate your own family members behind their bad choices behind drugs. I mean, it's like we all got to go through that. But at the same time, I just don't have a lot of heart. I don't have a lot of sympathy for people who hurt, murder, and abuse kids. I don't care what they're going through, what they done smoked, snorted, shot up their arm, or stuck up their butthole, or whatever the case is that made them hallucinate. I don't really care. That's a choice that she made. And then to sit there and say, to add insult to injury, to stick your finger in the proverbial wound, to say that you didn't have no help when you had a man in the courtroom that begged you to see his kid, and you was like, nope, nope, yous can't see your babies. You's not a consistent father. You's didn't pay enough child support, y'all. You's got another girlfriend. I don't want your girlfriend to be around my child, y'all. Whatever it is, it's all an excuse and it's all inexcusable. At the end of the day, she shouldn't have got no parole. To these young princes, R.I.P. Guarantee you they was going to grow up and become something extremely special. But we'll never know that because we were robbed of that opportunity by her mother. But thank y'all for listening to this saga, and that's going to be the end of this. And I hope some people can learn a lesson from this, use this as a cautionary tale so that we don't have this happen again. She's just a horrible person. That's what you got to, that's what her legacy is. She's a horrible person, horrible mother, and that you can never repay. All right. Thank you.